Without further ado, though, Mr. Tony Robbins.
So guys, I just wanted to join you for a few minutes to just, first of all, acknowledge and thank you for being such an incredible community. The comments, the support of one another. Is I was actually watching a video this morning that made me cry. It was just so beautiful. In fact, I'm going to give a little shout out in a few minutes to one of those people. But I think we've come together as a community from people from, 150 countries, 4,000 different niches. And we couldn't have come together at a better time. I mean, it's mind-boggling because, as you know, as Dean just talked about, 2/3 of the world's at home. And, no one knows what the new normal is going to really look like. It's a time of incredible uncertainty. It's a time of crisis. But crisis either destroys you or it creates you. You have to decide how you're going to use it. And so, a few years ago, I wrote a book called Unshakable. It was how to be prepared for this kind of time financially. I didn't know it was going to come from a virus, and I didn't know they were going to force everybody not to go to work. But the great news about what we're doing here together is you don't have to worry about going to work. You don't have to break any social distancing rules. You don't have to go to a physical facility to access your clients, to be able to actually build something that's meaningful and impactful. So this is your chance during this time to really make things happen. And Dean said something we both talk about all the time. I mean, this is a culture of progress. What does that mean? People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? And I'll say to people, well, think of moments when you're happy. What's it? Have you ever achieved a really amazing goal and you achieved it and you're out of your mind? And then how long did that last? How long did the happiness last? Think about your own life. Think of something you really worked for and you made it happen. Did it last 5 years of happiness? 3 years? A year? 6 months? 3 months? 3 weeks? 3 days? 3 hours? 3 minutes? Most people somewhere between 3 minutes and 3 days in most cases. Maybe a month, but not most things. And the reason is it's not like we're being gained by life. It's because what makes human beings happy is progress. Progress is everything. And progress doesn't need to be huge. It's just the direction. If you keep moving in the right direction, the old tortoise and the hare situation, but you're steady and consistent, you're going to get wherever you want to go. Dean and I are here not like overnight successes. Our overnight success is, 43 years for me and 21 years for him of doing this. But we can take what we've learned as we're doing here with you with the course and as we're doing here with our next level thinking, some of the stuff that he and I have been brainstorming, how to get you guys to a whole nother level. I mean, literally a whole nother level with a level of individual attention that can make that happen. But our focus is really, who are you going to be when all this is over? Because I'm sure Dean's talked about it, because we talk about it all the time. It's like, this is an incredible opportunity. Crisis is challenge with opportunity. And so who are you going to be? You got to decide right now. And what's wonderful, if you're on this call right now, and the reason I want to acknowledge you and celebrate you is you're not sitting back, stuffing your face, drinking, doing whatever you're doing, watching 50,000 Netflix pieces. You may have done a few of those, I understand. But it's not your primary focus. You're looking to create something to make you more valuable in whatever this new economy looks like. And thanks to the world that we live in, where people are starving for insights on how to improve various aspects of their life. And they don't give a damn if a person's got a degree. They want to know, do they have experience? Have they practically produced the result in any way? And all of you have something in that area, or you know somebody who does, and that's why you're a part of this. So first, I want to acknowledge you for going through the 6 weeks, the additional focus we wanted to give you guys to help you create that momentum. But then second of all, I just want to invite you to decide to be more unshakable. Now, unshakable doesn't mean you don't have fear, doesn't mean you don't have moments, doesn't mean you don't have uncertainty. But the difference of an unshakable mindset is it doesn't matter what you feel. Like, people are always asking me, like, how do I get rid of the fear? And I say, you don't. This illusion that fear disappears is what I think keeps people from going forward. Like, if I had to wait till I had no fear, I wouldn't be here, right? Courage, the definition of courage is not that you're not fearful. If you're not fearful, there is no courage, right? Courage is, I'm scared shitless, but I do it anyway. In the beginning of this, that's really, truly what you have to do. And it's like the big mistake, I think I mentioned this on one of our broadcasts to you guys, but it's like, I can't reinforce it enough. I hear people all the time saying, like, oh, I just don't feel strong enough. I don't feel ready enough. I don't feel whatever enough. F how you feel, right? I don't care how you feel. You got to just get yourself to do it, because if you get yourself to do things when you don't feel like it, you're going to succeed. If you wait until you're finally in the perfect place to do it, you're never going to achieve. All great, successful people are able to get themselves to do things they don't feel like doing consistently. And all that is, my dear friends, is a habit. It's just turning off the part of your brain that says, I can't, I won't, I'm not ready, and saying, I don't give a shit, I'm going to learn. Learning is the process of trial and error in the beginning. Now, we can speed that up which is what we do here at KBB by saying, let's learn from somebody who already has the tools. Someone's already proven the result for decades. That's what you're going to do for other people, and some of you are already doing for other people. But it's not like the fear is going to disappear. And also, be fair to yourself. Of course you're going to have uncertainty. Of course you're going to have worries or fears in an environment that's insane. There's been nothing like this in our lifetimes. I'm 60 years old. There's nothing even close to this. I've seen everything you can imagine, changes in our culture, but nothing where 2/3 of the planet. If someone had told you 8 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, that 2/3 of the planet's going to be shuttered in their homes and total fearful, breathing next to another human being, and the whole world's going to shut down its economy, you would have said that's insane. But that's the opportunity. There's 22 million people. I don't know what the numbers are. They're coming out today. There'll be more. Unemployment just in the United States alone. It's the biggest change in unemployment in history, the fastest drop in history. These people need support. They need love. They need respect. They need opportunity. And all those things are things that you can personally provide. So how do you, real quick, how do you create a checklist for yourself that can keep you in the psychology that makes you a leader and not a follower? Because that's really what this is all about in the end. You know, if you let fear control you, you're going to follow. You're going to do what everybody else does. You do what everybody else does, you're going to have what everybody else has, which is fear and frustration and worry and overwhelm. Again, you're going to feel that at times. It's not you don't feel it. It's just you don't let it stop you. It's like most people's fear is like going to court and only having a prosecutor telling you what's not going to happen, what's going to work, and there's nobody to defend. And the reason that happens is, as most of you know, we have a 2 million-year-old brain. And that 2 million-year-old brain is always looking for what can harm me, what could destroy me, what can get in the way. And that fear, if you let that part of your brain run you, and it's natural, it's the oldest part of your brain, it's the survival part of your brain. And when all you hear is messages all day long about how horrible everything is and the world's ending and it's terrible and we can never go back to what's normal again, which all of it, by the way, is bullshit. I'm sure you've seen, and I'm not here to lecture you in any way, but some of the greatest Nobel Prize winners, some of the greatest minds, including even Dr. Fauci himself, is now just in the New England Journal of Medicine 2 weeks ago saying, well, gosh, you know, we thought this was going to be much worse than it is. The estimates they gave were literally 20 times greater than what's actually happened. Any death's terrible. But now they're finding it's less than 1%, and the latest studies done in California show 0.012, 0.2. That means less or the same as the flu. Yet we see the imagery constantly because the news is not bad people, but they're a business. And they're fighting for your attention. I mean, how do you get your attention when 24 hours a day something's come at you through your phone, through everything else? The only way to get your attention is not to inform you, it's to startle you. And so they got to startle you. And I'm sure they believe in what they're doing. I'm sure they're trying to help. But what they're doing is putting your focus on one thing. I remember when 9/11 happened and I was in Hawaii and I was there with, 2,500 people from, I think, 60 countries, 45 countries, something like that. We're translating 6 or 7 languages simultaneously. And this all happened. And people were going crazy. Some people were crying uncontrollably. Some people were celebrating because they said this is retribution. Because there's people from all these different countries, every different religion, every different background. But almost everybody was so focused. And I remember this group of Australians were outside. We had a ropes course. So every morning we'd have people do this ropes course. And it was different teams. And that morning was the Australian team. So the World Trade Center, towers, I should say, were hit. They've gone down. 3,000, 3,500 people looked like had died at that moment. And these people are climbing the poles. And I get the call from the manager saying, we're getting all these complaints that these Australian people are screaming at them like, you're being disrespectful. And their response was, 4,000 people die every day of cancer and heart disease, and you guys don't give a shit about that. Every day. They said people die in Africa, more than this, every day of starvation, 2,500 a day. You don't give a shit about that. You're just focusing because it's something that you're focused on in your country. And people got mad. There was all these different emotions, but I got up and I just said to people, I said, listen, let's focus on what we control, what we can't control. I said, let's focus. Like, if all you do is focus on this moment, your focus is producing your emotion. Where focus goes, energy flows. And so I'm very respectful. I want to see what we can do. Crying, being angry, you can do all those things. But maybe what we should do is see what can we do. Maybe what we should do is a blood drive here to help some of the people. Let's come up with things we can actually do. But I said, we've got to control our focus. Because if you don't, any day of your life, you could be completely depressed and overwhelmed. All you got to do is think about all the people starving every single day. All you have to do is think about all the injustice in the world. Or you can think about the people just died, or you can think about all the children that were just born, the people making love, the children, kids are graduating from school with this new vision, doctors working on solutions to problems. Like whatever we focus on, that is what our life is. You're not experiencing life, you're experiencing your habit of focus. And so we got people to change their focus. And I asked people, I said, when this first happened, there's 3 decisions we make every moment of our life. You're making them right now as we're here on the screen chatting with you. The first question is, what are you going to focus on? And whatever you focus on, that will be your experience of life. And it doesn't matter even if it's true. Have you ever had somebody tell you something, or your mind went somewhere and you started thinking like worst case scenarios, and you became obsessed by it, and you're super fearful or anxiety or frustrated or fearful or whatever, and then this shit never happened? How many of you have ever done this before? I bet if I could see you and be honest, you'd all be raising your hand, right? And we've done it multiple times. Most of the time you fear most does not actually occur. And the challenge is most people out of that survival brain, they think of the worst case scenario, and it's not hard to do because the media has got to get your attention. It's got to shock you. It's got to upset you. It's got to get you going. Otherwise they can't get paid. You only click on it because they excite you or piss you off enough for you to pay attention or scare you enough. So they're not bad people, but if you let them direct your mind, you're going to have the same mind of most people. And most people are not fit, healthy, strong, happy, have a meaningful mission, what they're doing, that they feel like their life really matters at the deepest level. They're not healthy, they're not fit, they're not passionate in their relationships. So you want to be different. That's why you've come here. So you got to take step number 1 is take control of that focus. So I asked people during that thing, I said, I put people in groups. And I said, in the last minute, I did something. I said, make sure it's not only men and women, but people from different countries, which was really important. And I'll never forget, I went around and listened to people talk about, first question, what did you focus on the minute you heard about, the planes hitting, where you saw it? What did you focus on? And some people said, I focused on it's the end times. Well, you can imagine if you focus on that, what's that going to make you feel? And what are you going to do? Right? Somebody else focused on, she said she's a nurse and she wasn't there. And so she felt guilty. Because I need to be there, and here in Hawaii, and they shut down all flights, so I can't go back and help anybody, and I could be making a difference, and she felt guilty. One woman I'll never forget, because I asked people, what did you focus on? What did it mean? And what did you decide to do? If you decide to do nothing, it's still a decision, right? And so this one woman I'll never forget, she was screaming, and there was a group of 5 or 6 people, and she's talking at a volume like me, really crazy loud. And she's pointing and she's kind of spitting without meaning to, So I leaned in to listen. And she had this really thick accent, and she's talking about these horrific humans and insane, and she's just so full of rage. Whereas the last one was really full of, sorrow, and one before that was the worry, and the one before that was feeling guilty, right? So I said to her, well, what'd you focus on? She goes, just the insanity and injustice of it all. I said, yeah, I agree with that. And I said, but can I ask you a question? I said, are you from America? She said, no. I said, well, do you have friends here? She said, no. I said, have you ever been to New York City? She said, no. I said, well, you've never been to New York City. You're not American. Do you know anybody here? No. You have family here? No. I said, then why are you so angry? Because I don't know. I said, let me ask you a question. How often do you get angry? I'll never forget. She looked at me and said, why? That's why I was just curious. How often do you get angry? And she goes, well, sometimes. I said, but you seem to really, I'm not making you wrong. I have anger feelings too, but they're completely dominating you in this moment. And you don't live in America. This actually has nothing to do with you, but you're taking it personal. She goes, well, anger for me is like jet fuel. She goes, it gets me going, gives me energy. And you could see that as I went through group after group, I started to see a pattern. The woman I told you about, right? She's talking about how guilty she is and feeling so guilty. So I asked her, I started to ask this question. I said, how often do you feel guilty? And I'll never forget, she looked at me kind of funny and she said, well, a lot. I said, often? Well, every day. So 9/11 just became a trigger for people to go to what I call their emotional home. Everybody has an emotional home. Some people in real life live in a home they don't like. Some people live where every 2 years a storm comes and destroys their house and they build it again. And most of you look at them and go, move, right? But, it's easy to say that when you didn't grow up there. Well, we grew up in our heads in an emotional home, and some people they may not like it, but they're more comfortable with worry or fear or anxiety because it's what they know, and they find a way to get there. And so each of these people, I started to realize, holy shit, we use life experiences, including COVID-19, to go home, to go to whatever we're most comfortable and used with. So I noticed there's some people there that were very, loving, and they're trying to help. They were helpers. They're helping everybody else. That's what they always do. There are people that, a couple that try to make jokes, didn't go over real well, as you might imagine, but that's what they normally do. They use humor to try to break things up. It just didn't work well in that context, right? Some people are, it's end times. It's like, this is my core belief in life. So you have to get clear. If you want to go to the next level, where's your emotional home? Where do you live? And it may be time to, if not move it, certainly do some improvements, some expansions, some deepenings, right? You might say, gosh, I have this habit of getting to frustration really easy, or worry, or just not trusting myself. And you're not going to ever get over that. You have to start over it. You have to train your nervous system to just change your focus immediately, change your focus, focusing on what is useful, what is great, what can I do? So let me give you a quick test. There are dozens of these I could do, but I'll give you 3 fast ones. And I want you to participate with me. Don't sit back and just listen, because this will help you reveal what next level thinking you want to change so that you can have next level results, right? So I said there's 3 things that control our lives, 3 decisions. The first one's what you focus on. So let me give you 3 types. We all focus on all kinds of ways of thinking, but we have core habits. So tell me, which one do you tend to focus on more? What you have or what's missing? What you have is your primary focus, or do you tend to focus more of your time on what's missing from your life? Now, when I ask this in a big audience, 10, 15, 20,000 people, I'll usually, and these are people that are proactive, I'll usually see the vast majority, 80%, 70%, 90%, depends on the crowd, but around 80% say they focus more on what's missing. Now, just think about this from common sense. If you're always focused on what's missing, how are you ever going to feel fulfillment or joy or happiness in a lasting way? It's impossible. Because what you focus on, you feel. If you focus on, oh, this person screwed you over, someone told you, they're talking behind your back, they're these horrible things, and you go, no, they couldn't have, they're my friend. No, I'm telling you. And all of a sudden you go, I can't believe my friend did this. I can't believe they're being this way. And now you're all upset. You ever had something where you got really upset with somebody and then you went to deal with it with them and you found out you were wrong, none of it was true, and you had all this upset? That's because whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, even if it's not true. Focus equals feeling. Focus equals reality to the individual, even if it's not reality in actuality, right? So where do you focus? Now, if you're focused more on what you're missing, that's a good strategy of getting yourself going. But if you do that all the time, it'll actually be like putting your hand on, or putting your foot on the accelerator and the other one on the brake on your car. You're just going to eat up and have a lot of stress, and you're not going to get anywhere. And that's what most people do. You have to train yourself to focus first on what I have. And that's part of what we've done here with KBB also, just getting you to realize you do have a superpower. You might want to call it something else. I like superpower. Dean introduced me to the concept of superpower. I like the thought of it. It's fun, right? But everybody does. Everybody has some gift, some insight, some passion, something to share. And the more you focus on what you have to give, when I get up to go do an event, I focus on who am I here to serve? What do they like? Every city is different. Every person's different. I go to Japan, it's different than China. It's different than, let's say, Dallas. It's different than New York. It doesn't matter where I go in the world. And I try as much as I can. I interview people. I get my staff to interview people, figure out what are they thinking? What are they believing? If I'm going to like a corporate speech and I'm like, what do they do for a living? What are their challenges? And I try to really understand who they are. But then I focus on what do I have to give that can be valuable? And I don't question it. And it gets me in my passionate state to go forward and puts me in a place to really make it happen. But if you're focusing on what's missing, don't get me wrong, it's okay to do that for a short time, to take inventory, to make a plan, and then to move on. If you still focus on what's missing all the time, you're going to be stopped. You're going to be that full-time accelerate, full-time break. So let's take another one. Do you tend to focus more on, what you're in control of, or what you're not in control of? Now, which one would you say you do more of the time, honestly? What you're in control of or not in control? Now, this one's interesting. When you go to my seminars, and I bet if I could see all of you right now, there'll probably be a lot more of you saying, I tend to focus on what I control of. In fact, probably why you got this course, why you're part of this community is like, I want to take control of my life. I want to find new tools, new skills, right? So you tend to focus on what you control, and in that area, you feel better. But not always, right? And what do you think happens if someone has these two patterns together? Focusing on what's missing and what they can't control. That is most people right now, and it's not unfair. The government is forcing you to stay home, even if you're living in some other than 8 states in the United States. Unless you live in those 8 states, you're forced to stay home. You can't go out. You can't do your normal work. You can't produce things. Now with KBB, you can because you can do it from home. But for most people, it's like my freedom's been taken from me, and they know what's missing, and that's all they're doing, and I'm not in control. That's why so many people are drinking, smoking, going crazy. I saw a guy the other day on YouTube. He went down a block, and it was the trash day, and they separate the trash in this particular city, right? For ecology, plastics, glass. And like almost every house had just so much alcohol stuffed there on the curb. And it's like, that's how most people are dealing with it. You can't do that and lead. You can't do that and have an extraordinary life. I'm not saying you can't drink. I'm just saying you can't let these emotions dominate you. And they're dominated when you have these two patterns. One more. You focus more on the past. Oh, by the way, past, present, or future. We all do all three. But where do you spend more of your time? Thinking about the past, the present, or the future? Now, when I'm in a live seminar, my audience, very few people focus on the past. Because imagine if you're focused on what's missing, what you can't control, and the past, which you also can't control. You're screwed, right? In fact, I ask people, how many of you in the room, I'll ask them, how many of you know somebody who takes antidepressants and they're still depressed? And 95% of the room in any country I go to raise their hand. Well, how could you be taking antidepressants and still depressed? Because all they do is numb you, but they don't change what you focus on. So if you're taking these drugs and you're numb, but you keep seeing what's missing, what you can't control, and focus on the past, you're screwed. If you focus on the present, if you're looking at it from a positive frame of reference, you can feel good right now. Most successful people focus on the present and the future. If it's only the future, you miss these moments. Because right now, even though we're in the midst of this, Dean's got his new boy and his wife together, and they're at their home, and like we've talked back and forth in the middle of all the craziness. He's been smart enough not to miss these beautiful moments of his life right now. I personally, as his brother and who loves him as a dear, dear friend and brother, like I want to make sure, it gives me tears in my eyes even right now. Think about it. It's like I want him to have this. And yet, you've seen Dean, such a good man. He's such a contribution-driven guy. And here he is talking to you guys. He's online all the time. He's sending messages when his child's being born. I mean, that's who he is. But he is doing it. He's focusing on the present and anticipating the future. So if you just took those 3 patterns of focus and you change for like doing a gratitude journal, like this is what I'm so grateful for in the midst of all this. I have these tools. I have this way of reaching people. I've got a new way I can master. I can become more valuable. I'm at home. I got time to do this freaking course, right? I got time to prepare. I got time to design my future, right? So that's very different than what I can't have, what I don't have, what I'm not ready for, what I'm not experiencing. And if you can then focus in addition on that, like here's what I'm in control of. I'm in control of my ability to create a new future. I'm in control of how I respond to this environment. I'm in control of what I focus on. I'm in control of what this is going to mean to me. If you shift that, you're going to have a whole different psychology. And if you shift your focus from, I don't feel like it, to, I don't give a shit how I feel. I'm going to do it anyway. That's what's going to build the muscle that'll give you lifelong success and joy and fulfillment and meaning and a mission and impact, right? So first decision we make is what are we going to focus on? And most of us don't do that consciously. It's automatic. It's usually for most of us, it's our old brain. That's our survival brain. Step out of that. Second decision, what does it mean? What does this mean when something happens that doesn't feel good, that's painful? Is it God punishing you? That's what some people come up with the meaning. Is it God challenging you? Is it this problem a gift from God? Or does that have nothing to do with God? You're just being a lazy bum and not doing your job, right? And you're giving up too easy. See, is this the end or the beginning? See, if you think it's the end of your career, the end of life as we know it, the end of a relationship, if you think it's the end of a relationship, are you going to treat someone the same way as if you think it's the beginning of a relationship? Hell no. So I want you to get that the meaning, we get to decide, is someone disrespecting me? Are they challenging me? Are they coaching me? Are they actually loving on me? If you think they're loving on you versus they're dissing you, you're going to have a very different emotional reaction. And that's the third decision. Once you decide what to focus on and what it means, and by the way, your brain does this in milliseconds if you don't do it consciously, if you don't train yourself, which is, by the way, why I gave you the ultimate edge. I hope you guys are listening to it. It's designed to feed your mind every day, because if you don't feed your mind, Jim Rohn, my teacher, used to say, weeds grow automatically. You don't have to plant weeds. You don't have to plant pain or problems or fears or worries. They grow automatically. The only way you have what you want is you stand guard at the door of your mind. You plant the seeds every day of what you want. You fill your mind with what's going to make the difference. That's why I gave you that. So I hope it wasn't part of the program, but we gave it to you. And it's one of the most valuable tools that I know of. A little 30 minutes each day to fill your mind, because it'll change your focus. It'll help you come up with better meanings. And the third decision is, what am I going to do? And if you come up with a meaning that I'm being disrespected, or it's the end of everything I love, or the world will never be the same again, or whatever the case may be, that's going to produce emotions in you of fear or frustration or anger or sadness or worry or depression. And then what you do is going to be based out of those emotions. Versus if you come up with, holy shit, this is a brand new beginning. This is a chance for me to create what I really want. This is a pause for me to love and be close to those I love and grow and expand and be ready for the next chapter of my life. That's going to produce emotions of excitement or passion or hope or joy or love or certainty. And when you decide what to do, your decisions of what to do will be different. Also, KBB gives you another set of tools of what to do that you've never had before. Now, I can talk about this all day long. I only came by for a few minutes to be able to visit with you and share with you. I have to do another podcast here, unfortunately. But I asked me if I could come on, because I think if I can get you just to look at those three decisions differently, just be aware of your focus. And when it's not great, don't beat yourself up. Just go, okay, no problem, erase. Here's what I'm gonna do instead. Erase. Here's what I'm gonna do instead. And after a while, your brain will automatically look for what's useful, what's helpful, what's beautiful here. What can I learn from this? And those questions will lead to better answers. Questions are the answer. If you're asking, why can I never do this? What's wrong with me? How come I'm so fat and overweight? Your brain's gonna go, because you're an idiot, because you're a pig. You ask a lousy question, you get a lousy answer. But if you ask a better quality of question, your life will shift. So shifting your focus, coming up with an empowering meaning, that's a discipline. It's not positive thinking, it's intelligence. Because if you come up with a negative meaning, the emotions are so negative, you're not gonna do shit. But if you can find the empowering meaning and make yourself do it whether you feel like it or not, the whole game will change. In the beginning, it's hard to do, right? It's like any new habit. But the more often you do it, the stronger you get. Pretty soon you have a whole different life and you're able to do things other people think are impossible. Now, who can do this? Anybody. Anybody who cares, anybody who decides, anybody who plants the seed and says, I choose to be a leader, not a follower. And what I mean by that is, when you follow the rules of the culture, you become a follower. Leaders create their own rules. They decide how they're going to be. And they're not going to be like everybody else. They're going to do something that adds more value, that's more meaningful, that helps people, that makes a difference rather than living in their pity pot. And so be the leader that you're really meant to be. And, I can tell you all this, and some of you go say, oh, Tony's, he's been doing this so many years, or he's full of shit, or he's great, or whatever your mindset might be. But it isn't me. It's a system. If you're focused constantly on what's missing, and you're focused constantly, on the past, you're focused constantly on what you can't control, you're going to be frustrated, pissed off, depressed, overwhelmed, stressed, or something of that nature. If I did it, I'd be there. If you do it, you're going to be there. But we can shift. We are not our patterns. When people say, oh, I can't change myself, you don't need to change yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. There's just some patterns you're running that don't work. And anyone can't. All it takes is to draw a line in the sand and make the decision, say, this is what I want to do, and if I do it wrong, I'm going to let it go, erase, and I'm going to go to the next thing. Erase, find what works. Erase, till pretty soon that's the way my brain works. And I'm going to feed my mind every day, 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to read something, not off the web, not something that comes to me, something that will inspire me, something that will give me a new skill or philosophy of looking at life in a better way. Feed it every day. Train your body every day. Dean and I both do that. If you don't train your body, your mind's not going to be strong. And you don't have to train a ton. It can be a good fast walk. It could be lifting some gentle weights. It can be anything that gets you to push through. Some of you know I jump in freezing water every day. There's never a day I want to jump in that water. Never do I go, I can't wait to jump in the water. But when I walk there, I don't hesitate and negotiate and say, let me see if I can. I just do it. I teach my brain, when I say go, we go. Now, let me, just to wrap this up, share with you a video I got to watch this morning. One of our KBB family members, Lance, I hope you're out there. I cried when I watched this little video. It's a simple little video, but what made me cry was the goodness of this man. And so rather than tell you, watch.
Since the age of 12, I have had a passion for supporting people with disabilities and helping people with disabilities to recognize that it is possible to overcome significant barriers in our life, to do unbelievable things. I have cerebral palsy. I live my life in a power wheelchair. But I'm not here to say, oh, look at me, poor me. It's anything but. Not only do I accept the fact that I have a disability, but I believe that my disability puts me in a unique position to see the world in a very, very different way than most. I'm able to recognize that there is possibilities where other people may not see it. I'm willing to go and do things that not a lot of people are willing to do. And I pushed myself to get to where I am because I refuse to have that limited mentality that because of a disability, I'm not able to achieve X, Y, Z. And that's why I'm sitting here as a Paralympic athlete. I competed for Canada way back in 2000. I'm kind of aging myself here, but I competed for Canada in the 2000 Paralympic Games. And then I took about 16 years off of from that Paralympic sport, only to return in 2017 to that sport. And I have regained my position on the national team in Canada as of 2019. So 16-year hiatus, and here I am back competing at a high level in the sport. Pretty incredible. But the fact of the matter is, I'm able to do these things because I know that I can control how I respond to the environment. I can control how I respond to adversity. I do not let challenge bring me down. I'm always trying to push myself to the next level. So the KBB course and this opportunity that Tony and Dean have created for all of us has been nothing but a godsend because it is giving me the practical tools I have needed for a long time to actually impact other people's lives in a really profound way and hopefully see them be just as successful as I've been in my life. I have nothing but gratitude for everyone in my life and nothing but gratitude for all the wonderful experiences I've had, and I want nothing more than to help other people with disabilities achieve their dreams and prove to them that even though everything looks as though it's too difficult or there's too many challenges, if we're creative enough, if we're stubborn enough, if we want it enough, it can be accomplished. So thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to this ongoing journey with KBB and everybody in the KBB Facebook group. I'm very active in there. And I also want to make sure that people know I'm not here just to be inspiring. I want to be able to support everybody and be as much of a help as I can be to everybody in that group.
Wow. Wow.
Lance, you're why we built this program, brother. You're just like living exactly everything I just talked about, everything we teach. I love you so much. I'm so looking forward to meeting you. Lance, by the way, just joined us, pushed himself through the course, did his own first program, just did it. 6 people showed up, 3 enrolled for a high-end mastermind for him. I mean, just like, you're why we did this, man. This is what, well, you know, you and I, this was our vision that anybody could have from their home the capacity to have a meaningful impact. And listen to what he said, right? What did he say? He said, you know, I'm focused on what I have, not what I don't have, right? I have this ability, I have this vision that, you know, I want to impact people with disabilities. I want to show them what's possible. And how does he do that? He focuses on what he can control. I can control how I respond. I can control my mind. Everything I teach, there he is, he's doing it, right? And what's he doing? He's taking action. He isn't sitting talking about it, thinking about it. Does he have fears? Does he have stresses? Does he have overwhelms? I mean, there are people at home right now crying in their beer because they, you know, they can't go play golf or they can't do this. And here's this man who's been doing this since he's 12 years old, had this vision. Lance, I love you. We love you. And congratulations. And plus, what's he doing? This video, he didn't send it to us. He sent it to all of you. He's trying to figure out how to support everybody. He's not looking to get something. He's looking to give something. You couldn't have him. He's such an example. He's the prototype of what all of us are as part of this KBB family. We're all here. We're in it to win it for something more than ourselves. And that's where the power comes from. That's what moves me personally so much. So thank you for being a leader, Lance. Thank you for being there. And we're giving out some awards today. And I can't stay for the awards. I apologize. But I told Dean I still wanted to come on because I saw the schedule here. And I want to mention one of them, though, Lance, because you've won it. And that's the Whatever It Takes award. You've got it. We're going to acknowledge you. I'm sure Dean will go through more details for it. But we're also going to invite you as our guest to come to the course. And we're going to spend a little time meeting you personally backstage because I can't wait to meet you personally. But this is a man who is a leader. He isn't falling into what the culture would tell him he's capable of doing. He's created his own culture. That's what every one of us, men and women in this group, this family of KBB, has the capability to do. And we have the ability to help unlock that for other people in whatever way you do, whether it's showing them how to get rid of a migraine or how to get to a divorce in a conscious way where your children are taken care of, or how to, not just cut hair, but create an environment that triples how much you make, as a hairdresser. I mean, we have so many niches, so many ways to touch people, so many ways to help, right? This is so beautiful. So I came on to say thank you and to remind you what you already know. It's not the environment that controls you, brothers and sisters. It's what's going on here and here. And if we keep these things together, and that's what we're doing by keep creating and keep supporting each other and keep pushing through and keep upping our next level thinking, our next level action, like doing whatever it takes to master it, because it's a skill. These are skills. People go to school and they become a doctor and they go to school for 4 years and they go for their doctorates and then they go on and now they go out and go work in a hospital for a period of time. You're talking 12, 13, 14 years. And then they go spend a bunch of money if they're in private practice that they don't have to get started. I mean, it's a decade or more at least. Here, literally, in a few weeks or months, you could be doing something that's so meaningful and be able to earn while you're doing it too. In some cases, earn as much or more than professionals of that nature. We've got, as you know, doctors here and lawyers and tax accountants who found a new business for themselves, a new life that for them is more meaningful than what they used to before. And in some cases, they're earning even more too. So there's no limit except the limit we create in our head and our heart. And I'm saying to you, rip those limits off by some simple practices of new focus, by feeding your mind, catching yourself, erase, move on, finding the higher meaning. There's a deeper meaning, and taking massive action in anything you're facing, you can turn around. So Lance, love to you, brother. Dean, love to you. Love the whole KBB family. And I look forward to being with you guys really soon.
Love you, brother. Thanks for coming and sharing. Talk to you later. Love you, brother.